You're not my family. Get the hell out of here.
Saying this, my mother-in-law tries to get rid of me. She makes a victorious face, but I wonder if she thinks I'll struggle with that. I took the divorce papers out of my bag, saying I will, with a smile. My husband goes deathly pale. From now on, you'll have to pay for everything, but good luck with that. My name is Nancy, a 35-year-old office worker. It has been 3 years since I married my husband, Mike. But I should deserve a pat on the back for how well we've lasted for 3 years. My married life with my husband was different from my ideal life. To begin with, my husband never did any housework at all. He said he was afraid to touch a knife to cook, and did nothing. When I asked him to at least clean the house or do the laundry, he simply refused, saying he just can't do that. Then I have to do everything as I become impatient. It is really hard to do the housework, keeping a tired body going, and it makes me completely knackered every day. I've been living like that since the beginning of my marriage, but there is one reason why I did not get a divorce. It goes back to when I was dating my husband. You see, I grew up in a single-parent household after losing my father at a young age. My father died when I was very young, and I grew up in a single-mother household. My mother and I got on well with each other, and we overcame everything together. That is why I spent a very intimate time with my mother, and we were so glued together. My mother worked hard as a company employee and supported me. I wanted to give back to her, so I went to a good university and was hired by a great company. I took her on trips and to fancy restaurants. We enjoyed our time together. However, when I turned 30, my mother suffered a heart attack and passed away. I was overwhelmed with sorrow and I despaired. Although I wanted to take care of her more, I hadn't shown her being in my wedding dress yet, and I had so many things left to do with her, I had to say goodbye to her. Since then, I have been wrecked mentally. I worked hard, but I was lonely, sad, and cried every day when I got home. I met my husband under these circumstances. He was a business partner. We had known each other for a while, and he was concerned that I didn't look happy. We were having a meeting as usual, then after the meeting, he suddenly invited me for lunch.
This is a restaurant I recommend that serves set dishes. Their food reminds me of homemade dishes the lady owner cooks.
He took me out to the restaurant saying that. I hadn't felt like cooking for a while and had been having instant noodles or lunch boxes from a convenience store. So I was very moved when I had well-prepared homemade meals.
Well, are you okay?
What was it?
Well, I've noticed you seem down lately.
His words surprised me. I thought I hid my feelings well at work. But he found it out, and that was the first time I felt the urge to talk to someone. It is hard to take it all on myself alone. That night, I invited him to a pub and told him everything.
I didn't realize that. You have lost your mother.
She was really important to me, so it's been really hard ever since I lost her, and if I'm inattentive, I feel like I buckle under the anguish. When I said this, he gently told me.
Thank you for telling me the story, even though you are going through such pain. If it eases your pain even a little, would you share it with me, Nancy? I'd like to help.
From out of nowhere, he said that to me, and it made my tension go away. Then I cried until I couldn't cry anymore. I was really glad that we were seated in a private room, because I kind of felt something was off. He gently offered me a handkerchief and said,
You can cry in front of me, without worrying.
Then we started seeing each other frequently, started dating naturally, and were on a track for marriage. My husband was the one who gave me hope for life when I suffered heartache. That's why I loved him and didn't consider divorce easily. It's not like he had terrible traits, he just doesn't help me with housework. No couples are perfect, and there will be areas where I give concessions to him. For this reason, I didn't come across divorcing my husband, even though he did not do any housework from the beginning of our marriage. Under these circumstances, however, there came a person who made me even more unsure whether I wanted to stay married or not. That is my mother-in-law. She seemed to dislike me from the beginning of our marriage.
You're from a single-parent family and don't even have parents anymore. That's kind of unreliable.
I was shocked when she suddenly said that to me when I introduced myself. At that moment, my father-in-law got angry with her, saying,
Stop being so rude.
It quieted her down, but from this point, I had a hard time with her. Then whenever I went to visit my in-laws, she would always give me sarcastic comments.
I totally feel sorry for Mike, getting a plain wife. At least I wish you were prettier.
I really disliked her because she says such things in front of me without hesitation. Then my father-in-law always gets between her and me, so we managed to avoid a big squabble for the time being, but he became physically frail and needed assistance. Then she forces us to live together with them.
I can't look after him doing all the housework on my own. Please, I need your help.
She begged us like that. My husband said we can't leave her alone and sought me to live with them. I didn't want to live with her, but given the circumstances as they are, I felt like it was our responsibility to help family members in times like this. I think it was partly because I had no other family left. You never know when you will lose your family. So I didn't want my husband to regret, so I agreed to live with them. However, that was, as expected, a mistake. She was kind when asking for help, but once we started living together, she began to pick on me.
Why do you come home later than Mike? Normally, the wife should come home first, don't you think? Can't you even understand that?
I had worked hard when I was single, which led to a decent position at work. So, working overtime isn't anything special. My husband, on the other hand, I found out after I got married that he was paid quite low. Also, he didn't get any promotions or anything, so his income remained low, even after we got married. But then she suddenly made a surprising comment to me.
Although you earn less than Mike does, why do you keep working?
What?
You can be a full-time homemaker with his income, can't you? But you're working, that makes me suspicious.
I looked at my husband. He looked panicked and joined the conversation.
Oh, I'm asking her to work. You see, if we have children in the future or something, we will need money. So I'm asking her to save up for that.
When he said this, she looked convinced.
I got it. You should have told me sooner. But you looked so surprised and I couldn't make sense of it.
It's understandable that it took me by surprise. I stared at my husband. He looked very uncomfortable. Then, after dinner, I asked him heatedly in the bedroom. What did your mother mean by that comment? I earn more, don't I? That's why I'm paying for all our living expenses and the savings for our future with your income. Why does she think the other way around?
Well, that's...
When I asked him, he began to speak hesitatingly.
I'm her pride and joy. I was smart and graduated from a very high-level university. She always boasted about me to the neighbors. But I couldn't find a job, and even since I got hired, the salary remained low. I don't want to see her sad face, so I've been lying.
What kind of lies?
Well, it's about where I work. I've been telling her that I'm employed at a major company. Also, I've been passing off your salary as mine.
I was disgusted with what he said. It's great that he cares about his mother. But is it really necessary to tell such lies?
Please, can you keep the truth from my parents?
What the heck? So, you want me to pretend I earn less than you do?
Yeah, that's the idea. Please.
I think it would be easier if you told the truth.
Please. Men have pride.
I didn't understand what pride was, but he didn't seem to be willing to step back. So I had no choice but to give in. I was going along with it as he said, but my mother-in-law's verbal abuse became increasingly unbearable day by day.
Having low education and income is really hopeless. Even if you save your salary, it won't break the bank anyway.
Even though it wasn't true. I was about to say something, but I felt my husband's gaze and stopped. However, something unexpected happened shortly after that. My father-in-law passed away. He had been protecting me ever since he needed assistance and had to stay at home all the time. But there is no one to protect me anymore. She took that opportunity and got abusive to me. I couldn't help her during the week because I was busy with work and housework, but I looked after him on weekends. Even so, why do I have to be verbally abused? On top of that, she started hatching a plan.
Since we received an inheritance, why not buy a new house? Let's live more comfortably.
She said that out of the blue. I wonder if she's gonna live with us even after he passed away? Then my husband is very into that.
That's a great idea, let's do that.
Then they started visiting real estate agents without telling me, and my jaw dropped. I guess he has forgotten that I pay all the living expenses. At least my husband could care about me. However, he was so excited about setting up a new house that he didn't seem to see me. Then they finally signed the contract for the new house. Well, if they've signed the contract, then never mind. I was also packing up my stuff, getting ready for moving. But when it was getting close to the move, she dropped a bombshell.
What the heck are you doing? You don't seriously think you can come to the new house with us, do you?
Ah.
That house is for me and Mike. A woman who earns little and can't do housework properly has no right to live there.
No, that's not true. I, as a family member.
No, you are not my family. Get the hell out of here.
She tried to kick me out, saying that. At this point, something inside me snapped. Until now, I have helped my husband in many ways to get along with his family and to avoid regrets, but I can't stand it any longer. She has a victorious look on her face, but I wonder if she thinks I'll struggle with that. I took the divorce papers out of my bag, saying I will, with a smile. I slapped my husband with them. His face turned pale.
Why do you need divorce papers?
I've always been shattered by you and your mother. I've always kept these ready for when things have gone unacceptable. As I said that, my mother-in-law smirked.
Isn't this perfect, Mike? Get rid of this plain middle-aged woman and find a beautiful young wife. With your income, you'll easily attract a new partner.
His face remained pale, but he still signed the divorce papers. I guess he couldn't let his pride down. I put them in my bag, took my stuff, and said this to him for the last time. From now on, you'll have to pay for everything, but good luck with that. It made him look down, and my mother-in-law, who knew nothing about it, still had a victorious look on her face. That's how I ended my life with my husband. I stayed in a budget hotel for the time being, then rented an affordable apartment and started living on my own. A month later, I received a call from an unknown number. I took the call just in case. The person on the other end was my ex-mother-in-law.
Ah, is this Nancy? Thank God you answered.
What on earth do you want to talk to me about? I'm no longer related, and I don't want to talk to you.
Don't say that. I need your help.
I knew she would say that.
I had absolutely no idea that you were earning more than he does and that his salary was so low.
Are you saying, if you had known that, you wouldn't have picked on me? Then you're practically admitting that you change your attitude depending on their status. Is that correct?
Well, that's. Anyway, you should help us. Once the monthly living costs like water or power bills are deducted, it's pretty tough to pay the mortgage with his salary.
Well, of course, I used to pay for all the living expenses. I believe they will barely make ends meet with his salary.
My husband's inheritance has been used for the deposit and...
I had glanced before at the house they were buying, and it was quite extravagant, which makes the amount of monthly mortgage repayment very high. There is no way that he could manage it with his salary alone. They would have had to go into debt to continue living in that house. But that's no longer my problem. Whatever you say, it's none of my business. Please tell my ex-husband to let his pride down, or he is miserable. Also, you should stop picking on your daughter-in-law, or you will have to go through hell and back, like that.
Ugh.
Bye for now.
Hey, wait.
She was shouting something, but I hung up the phone regardless and immediately blocked incoming calls from her. My ex-husband is a helpless person, as he ended up digging his own grave by not letting his own pride down until the last. I wonder if the kind man I knew before dating hasn't existed anymore. A few months later, I walked past the house where my ex-husband and ex-mother-in-law lived as I was curious, but the for sale sign was already up. Well, that's the expected outcome, I suppose. With that thought in mind, I went back to my normal routine. I miss my mother from time to time, but now I am even more committed to my work, and I have just recently been promoted. I enjoy my work and am happy for the time being. I don't want to be in love or get married for a while, so I want to continue to devote myself to work more and more. Her husband is a real idiot, clinging to his pride, and he let a big fish go. Also, the mother-in-law is the same kind of person who continues to bully her daughter-in-law without knowing anything. I suppose it was a good thing that she has cut ties with people like that. Her work seems to be going as well as ever, so she should be able to further enjoy her single life. Then I think she can slowly and patiently look for a new partner. I wish her all the best for the future, and I hope she has happy days ahead. Thank you for watching. How did you like today's story? Please subscribe to our channel. See you in the next story.